is West Ham Unofficial. Come on, you Irons. Welcome to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are. Oh, well, this is the big one. I can see all of you in the chat are excited for this. So am I. This is what we have been waiting for tonight. I'm joined by the one, the only former West Ham striker, Frank McAvennie. Frank, how are you?
I'm good, Jake. How are you, son? You okay?
Yeah. Not too bad at all. Thank you very much for coming on tonight.
No worries, my friend. I've just got to say at the beginning, got to wish all the best to Amber, who I think she broke her back. I heard that she broke her back, so she's hopefully she's watching us and get well soon, darling.
Yeah, indeed. Everyone in the chat, as I say, I can see you. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Before we get into the questions, you've been playing much golf lately, Frank?
That's all I've been doing, Jake. I've not been, can't do anything else. We've still got a little tyrant up here who's stopping us from doing a lot of things. So the government are behind you guys down the south. So it's a bit strange. But I'm playing golf and I'm just getting about and trying to do what I'm normally doing. A good weekend with another ex-West Ham player Saturday night with a good night, John Hartson. That big man can drink. So yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah. So without further ado, we're going to get into it then, Frank. First question: how did you get into playing football?
It was very. I don't know if it's well known, but a lot of people know about it now. I was I never played football when I was a boy. My family used to take me to home and away and go to the Celtic games. So it was very strange. When I was old enough to go and moan. I was 19 walking through Glasgow and the Celtic game get cancelled. And I didn't know what to do. I was going to go to the bookies. I had a £5 in my pocket. I was unemployed. And some of my pals were at this place where the Apollo, it's called, in Glasgow city centre. And some of my pals were there from where I grew up. And they asked me to come play football. And the manager says, look, some of the boys have not turned up. Fancy coming again, having a game, and I'll get you a couple of beers after it. Well, I thought it was a wonderful idea. So that was it. I went, and unbeknown to me, there was 5 scouts watching the kid that I was playing against. I don't know what happened to that boy, but my career took a little turn that day. So that was it. Within a short space of time, I was in St Mirren first team, and it went from there. And had a few really great years at St Mirren. Played my first game in Europe for St Mirren, and against Feyenoord, and it was Rijkaard, Hullet, and Cruyff, 3 of the biggest names in the football world, and yours truly's playing in midfield against them, so it was good. It was good fun.
Yeah. So from St Mirren, when you signed for West Ham, how did the whole thing come about, and how did it happen?
It was by accident, because I was actually going down to sign for Luton Town, and the deal was all done. I know it's not supposed to happen, but the manager was on the phone to me, David Pleat, and he's a great footballing guy. He's a wonderful footballing guy. So, he was talking to me, and everything was great. The deal was done with the club. We went down to sign, and the chairman of Luton walked in and slapped me and said, "Welcome to Luton." And there was no way I was signing for him after that. So I looked at my agent and walked out. And the manager of St Mirren came out and told us about West Ham, and I was really annoyed, because if I had to sign for Luton, I'd never have known about West Ham. So as you can imagine, I wasn't too happy, Jake. So I went and spoke to, because they paid for everything as well, which is a funny thing. They'd paid for all the flights, and if we told them there and then I wasn't signing, we'd have to have paid for all our flights. You know, they'd have invoiced us for the money. So I says, I'll give you my answer tomorrow. And myself and my agent met John Lyle and Eddie Bailey at Toddington service station on the M1 at about 2:00 in the morning. It was, it was pretty awesome. And as soon as you speak to John Lyle, I mean, you won't know him, but you would have heard of him. He's such a wonderful guy. And as soon as he speaks to you, you know, you're out to tell me what he wanted. He was so far ahead of the time. And he told me the positions. He wanted me sitting behind Paul Goddard and Tony Cottee and go for there. So basically, it would have been three of us. To be honest, it didn't work in close season. We were absolutely hopeless, but we went to Holland. We actually went to Holland, and there's a photo of me and TC with this big trophy, and it said champions. Now, I can't remember winning a game over there, unless we stole the trophy, I don't know, but I don't know how we got hold of it. It must have been a photo, a promo for the start of the tournament or something, because we certainly didn't win it. But it was a good trip.
Yeah. James says, we could do with Frank now. We need a new striker. We do need a new striker. Frank, would you be up for that?
Yeah, if I could run, yeah, it'd be great. It was, well, I can run, but I'm about as hopeless as anything now. So, listen, I went to see West Ham last week, play against Celtic, and I was at the game, and it was wonderful to see Antonio, and it was different class. If only he could last longer, you know. You tend to get 6 games and then misses 2 or 3 and then 6 games, and I think the club need to address that. They need a striker.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
I think
that's a big one, but he's a wonderful player. Same as me. Went from midfield to up front, and he's doing great.
Yeah, well, Magic David Moyes did convert him from that winger midfielder into a striker.
Yeah.
And
Well, David's doing all right. I was never in doubt with David, but he's got a certain way, a certain mentality, and it's a mentality that I like. You know, there's nothing wrong if you lose the ball, as long as you chase it and try and get it back. You know, there's no point. Every one of David's signings works their backsides off, so I'm delighted with that. You know, and if it was me, I'd be having a little word with Kofel and Soucek and seeing if they've got any pals that fancies coming over to London, you know, because they've been outstanding, you know, and good boys. And I was speaking to Stuart Pearce, and he was saying they get on, they just got on with their life. There's no hassle, there's no dramas with them. They just, you know, they're enjoying life. They come in, do their business, stay, do a bit extra, and go home. And total professional. So yeah, it'd be nice to get some of their teammates. That'd be good.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And there just seems to be that that kind of winning attitude, and everything seems to be right. And you know, hopefully with a few more transfers to come in, everything should be good. Moving back then, so you mentioned it just a minute ago. When you joined the club, you were portrayed as an attacking midfielder behind Paul Goddard. Were you content? Were you happy with that? You know, when you were told that when you moved to West Ham?
Yeah, well, I was, because I played midfield for St Mirren. When I only played up front in my last season for St Mirren, because I was doing all right in midfield. I was scoring double figures with goals, so it wasn't a problem scoring goals. But the older guys will know what I'm talking about. When I was getting man of the match, and at the end it would say Frank McAvennie man of the match, MOM, and the striker would do nothing and score a goal and get all the headlines. And I thought, you know, I want them. So I said to the manager, you know, and that's at that time, that's where the money was up front. That's where you got the headlines. And I said to the manager, I want to play up front. So he moved me up front, and it worked for me at St Mirren. But to play in midfield would have been, you know, it would have been okay, because it was only a year that I hadn't played, and playing in the number 10, if you like, that you know, who knows, it could have worked. We didn't get a chance to find out over a period of time. It was too early. As I say, we didn't do well in pre-season, but we get beat at Birmingham. So, you know, I think the footballing gods were saying it's not going to happen, so they changed it.
Yeah, Yeah, were you more happy then being put as a striker next to Tony Coy? Did you feel that you would have been more effective in that position?
No, I was happy playing up front. I like it. I don't, I'm not the tallest striker in the world, but I put myself about, and I didn't take any nonsense off big centre halves, big bullies. So, I liked that, the physicality of it. It didn't bother me. I was used to it coming from Scotland, so I sort of thrived on it and enjoyed it, which is a strange thing to say, but yeah, it was wonderful because Tony, listen, what a wonderful striker TC was, but asking Tony to go into a tackle, not a chance. It wasn't going to happen, especially when you get the big centre halves looking at you and saying, that we played against a boy called Brian Klein and Coventry and Newcastle, wonderful big lad, but his nickname was Killer Jake. So when you're playing up front and the keeper kicks the ball out and you hear Killer's ball, and you look at your teammate and he's going, nothing to do with me. So I had to go for it. So I got a few knees in the back and a few kicks, but you put Tony anywhere near the 6-yard box and he'll score, and that's why we played so well together.
Yeah. I suppose you found out early on in your partnership that you were going to be the one going for the tackles, and Tony was going to be the one that you were supposed to pass it to score.
Yeah. Well, he's great. He done. I beat 3 men, rounded the keeper, rolled it in, and no, I didn't. I was going to say that, but the first game on TV, Jake, was against Charlton, and when we get the TV get back on, and I loved the goalkeeper, and it was going in, and I loved TC. He ran in and kicked it right on the line, and he got the goal. So I was laughing. He says, I didn't know if anyone was behind me. Yeah, all right. But that was a partnership. Myself, if I went through in goal, I would lure the keeper out and I'd give it to Tony. If Tony goes through in goal, I would go for the rebounds because he's not going to pass it. And I knew that, and that's why it worked. It was great because I was more, maybe because I played 4 years in midfield, I appreciated more of the team game rather than just out and out going for goals. So that was maybe something to do with it. But listen, it didn't bother me as long as the team won. That was all I cared about.
Yeah, and I'm sure West Ham fans who saw you back then, as long as you two were putting the goals in, I'm sure you didn't care, and I'm sure they didn't care as well. Fantastic partnership. People have been putting in the chat, best West Ham strike force in 34 years. That partnership was special.
It was good. We still got on well today. We got on better now than what we did when we played because Tony never went out. So I was always out. So TC would go home and watch Match of the Day and all that, and I would see it midweek sometime. It was pretty good. I suppose it was the opposite sides of the coin. That it was totally. Tony was totally different for me, and I as I say, I see him more now out. We go out a few times when I'm in London and we have a beer, so it's great. And we're still, that team, we didn't win anything, Jake, but we went right to the last game of the season to win the league, which was, it was a horrible situation to get told that Liverpool had scored at Stamford Bridge, and we didn't win the league. So I've never seen so many grown men cry. So we're so close, that team, even though normally it's winning teams that are that close, but we've got a great bond with each other. So it was good. I seen Gailey last week in TC the week before, and Little Ward there. I'm seeing him all the time. So we're always down and catching up. When you get in a room, it's as if we've never been away. We just start off where we were in the changing room. We all act like little boys, and we got up to mischief, and especially Gailey. He's the biggest kid out of us all, but it's good fun.
Yeah. You mentioned you never won a trophy in that 85-86 season, but I'm sure obviously many memories were made for you and of course for the fans. And looking back at a fantastic time to do this is looking back at the last season as well. The older generation have said that this has been this has been their most memorable season since 85-86. Has it brought back memories, watching West Ham do so well this season?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been good to watch. I suppose this is the only season that I've watched as many games as all the rest of the supporters because, I could only see it in the telly like everyone else. Nobody got in the ground. I was so gutted because the boys done so well and the supporters weren't there to see it. It's just one of these situations, Jake, that, it was just sad. But I'm hoping that next year, we kick on again. I'm sure David will have them fit enough. And, there's a lot I think there's a lot of mulling around different signatures at the moment. I think they've got to get some done. I think they've got to get some people over the line. And we all know they need another striker. I think is it Abraham's has gone to Arsenal. I heard. Is that right? Has he signed?
Yes. Yeah. I don't think he's officially signed, but in the last day, it's pretty much said, he doesn't want to come to West Ham. He wants to go to Arsenal.
Yeah. Hopefully the boys will shove that down his throat next year. But listen. I think if Arsenal were nowhere near Tammy Abrahams, and when West Ham were talking about him, they should have went and got him. Just go and get them, and don't let other teams come in and steal it at the back door. So I'm a wee bit annoyed. And you've got to get. I don't know what they're doing with the kid from Man United. I don't know what he's doing. He's back playing. He will not play there. He will not play at Man United. I don't know why he's hanging about. West Ham got him back into the England squad. He was in the third tier at Man United, so he's got to sort himself out, and hopefully West Ham and David Moyes can, because he done wonders last year, for it. And we've got good players, Jake, and Antonio, as I say, and Lanzini. We've got some good players, and we don't know what's happening with Declan. There's a lot of speculation with Declan, but I'm hoping that he stays at least for another season. But again, got to give him the money that he's due, because he's one of the top players in the country. You've got to pay him that. Listen, I don't think anyone's entitled to the money they're getting nowadays, but it's a going rate, and you've got to go if you want to be challenging, which we were promised since they all took over, since the board took over. We were promised, to move. We were promised Champions League and European football. Well, I don't think anyone will complain about that if we do that every year this season. I know we're in the Europa League, but that will do for me. It was a wonderful, exciting, thrilling season, and that's what West Ham fans deserve.
Oh, completely. Right then, we've got a guest to come on now. Let's bring him on. TrevTube, best known as on his YouTube username. Trevor, how are you?
I'm good, Jake. Can you hear me right?
Yes, yeah.
Brilliant, good. Right. Hi, Mac. What a privilege to speak to you. Used to run around in the playground pretending to be you and Trevor Brooking. Being a Trevor myself, I got that one.
God, let me feel so old. Yeah, right. Thanks, buddy.
No, it's brilliant. I mean, very, very nostalgic for me, but also it's just an honour. And I say thanks to Jake as well. I know it's a competition, but thanks very much for the opportunity. That's great.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions. So, do you want to go on? Okay. You've spoken around this already, really. But what do you think is going to be key to us having another successful season and really pushing on from last year or last season?
Yeah.
For us, for West Ham, what's going to be key now to having another really good season?
Keep the players they've got and add a few additions. I think he's got. Listen, I look at them. I wasn't a big Hala fan when he came in. I thought he was a miserable sod. When he scored the goal, he didn't celebrate, and you can't have people like that around. It does. It's like an infection, it's an infection in the dressing room. So, and a big guy, I don't know who watched him for West Ham, because he came in and obviously he played well in the team in Germany, but he played the three West Ham player, one up front, and he couldn't do it. So I'm glad that David's buying the players now, because he'll know who he's buying. He knows who's going to come into the team, and I'm quite sure he knows he's got a few people lined up, whether they get them or not. I hope they keep it quiet and just sign them, because every time they come out and say they're going to go and get someone, they don't do it, and it just annoys the fans. You know, I get that they're trying to give a bit of life to West Ham and try and make themselves look good, the board, but you know, sometimes you just got to keep it shut, and once you sign them, then make an announcement, you know, but don't make an announcement before you sign anyone. So I'm hoping that David goes out and buys that. I mean, he's a jock, so he's very shrewd, and we all see the kind of players that he buys. They're all the same kind of players, you know. They just work their backsides off, and that's what the fans want. You know, everyone's entitled to a bad game. I've said that since I started playing football. Everyone's entitled to a bad game, but it doesn't stop you having a game that helps the team. You know, you can still do things for the team, closing down, harassing people and chasing every ball, and just, you know, that's nothing to do with having a bad game. Because having a bad game, you don't have to stop running. And I see players for the last couple of seasons do that, and I didn't like it. But Moyes got him going again, and and then he fought to get Stuart Pearce back, and the defence started tightening up, and that was not a coincidence. So yeah, he's got a good team round about him, and I've got every confidence in David Moyes going forward. He just needs to add a few additions. I think he's got good players there. Keep the players he's got, add a few additions, and take it from there. And, you know, and I'll be down a lot to see them. Hopefully we can open up and everything's okay again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you mentioned earlier about the Czech lads, and you said, do they know anyone? You know, they could persuade someone to come over. Now, of course, I've been tracking. I think most of us have the likes of Seema and Hlozek. There's some real talent over there, and you know, I personally would love to see somebody like Hlozek come over, because like he's so young, seems to be somebody who could grow into something really special. Do you know much about him at all?
I don't know much about him, but what I do know about them is that they're hungry for the game. You know, they're desperate to improve, and as Piercy says, you know, they're just such really nice people. You know, they're humble, and they go about their business in a way. So the olden days, I mean, we were all great with the fans. You know, they don't walk by fans, I heard, which is great. You know, there's a lot of big time Charlies, not just at West Ham, but they've got so much money involved now. It doesn't stop you signing players, signing autographs for players, and stop them having a selfie. And I don't get all that, you know. But these boys seem to thrill on it. They don't care. You know, they're from humble beginnings, and they come over and they work hard for West Ham. Even if they get an English player, I don't mind, as long as he watches and does the thing for the team. Then I've not got a problem with whoever David buys. But I think we can be sure that Moyes is buying the players now. So as long as he continues to do that, you know, and Mr. Sullivan doesn't drop any strikers in his door on Monday morning, you know, that'll be that he doesn't know about. That'd be great. As long as David knows who he's bringing in, then I'll be quite happy with that.
Yeah, great. There's just one more, Jake. Just really more for you, Macca, in terms of your style of play as well. Like, you were just amazing in terms of your anticipation. You always seem to be reading, you know, one step ahead. You know, you knew where the ball was going to drop. Don't see that many strikers, I don't think, like that anymore. There seems like, you know, Antonio's fantastic. He's very bullish, you know, very aggressive and strong. But do you see anyone in a modern game like yourself?
Not really. They don't do it. I think it's a dying art. I think you've got to gamble. You know, I think a lot of it you've got to gamble, and people don't do it now. You know, I was playing with Tony, and sometimes, I'd go and there was no right for Tony to win the ball, and you've just got to gamble, and he might not win it 9 out of 10. And then that one time when he wins it, he could put you through. You're not there. So you've just got to keep doing it. And you've got to hope and just have belief in the teammates round about. And the more you make runs, I don't see players. I see Antonio doing it now because he's got great pace. He's getting in behind defences, you know. But it's like a dying breed, you know. You don't see. I see fullbacks flying up the park, and I'm thinking, well, if that was me, I'd want the ball out there all day long. You know, as soon as the left back flies up, we get it. I want it to go into his space because he's not there. I don't understand why people don't turn and get the defence turned round and get your team up the park. Everything seems to be measured and passed, and I see Antonio doing it a lot now, especially at the Celtic game. He was turning them because they push their forwards their fullback straight forward, and it was immense against Celtic. So I'm hoping that he's going to stay fit, because he's a big player for us. So yeah, I don't know many players that do that. You know, I like. I've got to be honest. I like Lingard. I liked him at West Ham, and when he was signing, people were asking me, you know, is it a good signing? I'm saying, yeah. If we get the Lingard of 3 years ago, he's a great signing. But the Lingard's been sitting in the stand for 3 years. He's not any good to us. So he came there, and you can see in the dressing room, it was great with the boys, and his banter was good, and doing his Michael Jackson routines and all that kind of nonsense. So it's great for the dressing room. It's great for the fans to see that. But I don't understand why he'd want to go back to Man United, because he's not going to get a game. And he's a big player for West Ham. So I would be delighted if he came, if he signed. I don't know what the deal is now, whether it's off or what the situation is. But nothing in football surprises me anymore. So I'm hoping that he comes in, because he seems to like, I don't know who wouldn't like London, but he seems to like West Ham. So, you know, if you're going to come over to England to play football, I would imagine that London was probably the best place for your family as well. You know, London's a great place. So it's much better than Manchester now. Who wants to go up there? You know, that's as bad as Glasgow. It's raining all the time.
Yeah. Trev Tube, thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks, Trev. Take care. Buddy.
Thank you so much, Ian. What a privilege. Cheers, Jake. Cheers, Macca.
Thank you, Trev. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Bye. Thank you very much once again, Trev, for entering the DT38 prize draw and winning it as well. Congratulations to you then. So let's continue on then, Frank. A couple of questions from a channel member. Andy, you are the legend. Thank you very much for sending these in. His first question is, do you think your partnership with Tony Cottee was and is underrated by other clubs?
At the time, I don't think nobody knew who I was. Everyone knew who Tony was, and you know, and Tony changed the style of play. I think some of the older boys might remember. We had a meeting after the first couple of games. We had a meeting and changed, and we got Tony doing more work for the team, and he went on to become such. You know, don't get me wrong, he was a wonderful goal scorer when he was. Before I got there, but he worked for the team. I think Tony he became a better player because he was everyone, his teammates knew what he was doing, and it was great. And we worked together as a team rather than just individual. And I seemed to enjoy that as well. So it wasn't as if it was underrated. Tony, everyone knew Tony would just score goals. He didn't do a lot of running. But then all of a sudden, he started moving and started doing things for the team. The defenders didn't know, because that wasn't in the rule book for Tony Cottee. So all of a sudden, he started running by players, and they didn't know me. They didn't know the pace that I had. So it certainly worked. The two of us. It was like a new TC and a stranger. So it certainly worked. You know, against defenders. And, you know, and it's, do you know what? There's not been many times in my career, probably just the 1 year, that I actually thought, you know, I'd score every game. You know, at home and away, we were kidding on and wondering about, you know, how many goals we score. That's what we're talking about. Which I think I can speak for Tony in that as well. There's not many times as a striker you get a season like that, and that was certainly one season. And it was such a laugh. Three amigos, me, him, and Mark Ward, and we used to annoy everyone, but it was great fun.
Yeah. Guys, your questions, I am going to get to them towards the end. Once I've asked all my questions, I'm going to ask a few to Frank towards the end. But Duke has put £5 in the super chat. Frank, somebody's told me, Duke hasn't told me directly, but somebody's told me that Duke idolises you. And he says that he really likes you. So thank you very much, Duke, for putting a £5 in the super chat. He says, Frank, is there anything you would have done differently during your career if you could have had the time again?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I enjoyed everything I'd done. You know, didn't want to get injured when I came back to West Ham. That was that. But nah, listen. People say to me, I wouldn't have liked to have played. When I signed the second time for John Lyle, you know, and West Ham were getting relegated. I knew that. I get a chance to go to Arsenal, and there's no chance I was going. There's not a chance of me staying there. But you know, some may have changed my mind. I might not have went to Arsenal, but I may have went somewhere else if I'd have known that Lou McAvennie was getting the job, because he was the worst manager out there. It wasn't good for me. I mean, worst manager out there might be a bit strong, but for West Ham, it wasn't a fit. You know, he didn't want anyone to play football. He wanted them to launch it. You know, and it wasn't a fit. And he was never there, to be honest with you. He was always at racing. Every time there was a race on, it was Goodwood or whatever. You know, it was always there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a good fit for, you know, I didn't like that. But me personally, no, I'd have still made the same choice. It's just if I could see into the future and see that happening, then it would have been different.
Yeah, definitely. Was going to do. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you very much. Right then, Andy's second question for you is: what player from the current side from last season do you think would have been perfect in that 85-86 side?
That's a strange one, because I don't know many players that would change. The only player I would have changed would have been, if I could put Julian Dix at left back, we would have won everything. We'd have won, we'd have won the league. We'd have won everything.
Yeah. I mean, you certainly would have won some penalty shootouts as well. Was there any method behind the was there any method behind the really effective madness with Julian's penalties, or was it just hit it as hard as I can?
It was my roommate, and no, it was my roommate, and he used to say, if I don't know where it's going, what chance the keeper got? So it was that was it, you know. And it was strange because me as a striker, I didn't get to order a match because my dog's annoying. Why go take this dog away? Done a life with me. So yeah. Get away. No, I would change. That's the only thing I would change is West. I don't know about the current team. You know, I don't know. Cresswell was doing very well, but I don't know. I don't know if he would have got in. Maybe Declan instead of Neil Orr. That would have been maybe. I mean, I'm being harsh here because we all played a part in '86. So
yeah,
you know, it was strange.
Definitely. What similarities do you recognise from the 85-86 squad and the 2021 squad? So when you put them, you know, side to side, back to back, do you see any similarities between the two squads?
Yeah, they're all enjoying themselves. And they're all together. You hear that? That's my dog.
Yeah.
You hear that? Excuse me a minute. I'll be back.
That's all right. Not to worry, guys. We are we will get round to your comments in just a little while. Once I've asked all of my questions, I'll pick out a few to put to Frank towards the end of the show. If you are enjoying the show, then drop a like on the video. How many likes are we on? We're 39 likes. Come on, let's get to 50 likes. We need 11 more likes. Hit the like button. For Frank, carry on.
Yeah, I was just talking about. I like the fact that they are all they're together. Look, it's if they're together, so there's a good bond there, and yeah, I like that. I'm a great believer, Jake. No matter you enjoy what you're doing, I'm a great believer. And if you enjoy what you're doing and you're having a good time, then it becomes easier. You know, it's not a job. You know, a lot of times, you know, when you find something you love, it's no work. So it was certainly not work for me playing football. It was a great thing for me. So and I enjoyed every minute of it. So, and that's what the team today are doing. That's about the thing. They never seem to. The other thing we had in '86 was we didn't like getting beat. You know, we went right to the end. And you know, if we were a goal down or something, we'd get it back or we'd win because we fought right to the end. But you know, we didn't play for 8 minutes, or we played sometimes 92, 93. and it was great. And there was only, I think there was only 15 players used that season. You know, I mean, when you think of that and the pitches that we played on, you know, I sometimes laugh at the players, and I'd love to see the players of today, you know, going out and they wouldn't even train on their pitches. they'd say, "What's that? Oh, I can't play there." Then that would be, it's we just love playing football. So yeah, the boys of today are getting that way. I like seeing them, and they're all having a good time, you know. And yeah, it's getting to a point. David's, I think he's such a stickler for everything that's right, and I think it's right for West Ham that he's there at the moment, because a couple of years ago we got battered by Man City, and some of the players were walking off and laughing and joking, and that wasn't good to watch on telly, and it wasn't good for the fans. And I think that mentality is out of the team now, which is great. So, you know, if you don't get beat, if you get beat, fine. Don't, it might be a pal in the other team, but you know, sort it out. You know, talk to him in the dressing room. Don't do it in front of the cameras when you're all laughing and all that. It's not good to watch. And this team don't like getting beat. So when they go off the park and they get beat, it's you can actually see them not happy, which is a great thing to have.
Yeah. What was your favourite away ground to play at when you were playing?
Man United, Old Trafford. I loved Old Trafford. You know, I scored a few goals up there. And the best away game we played was against Chelsea. We battered them 4-0.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, it was great. It was brilliant, and we had the white. We were all very clean at the start of the game, but you know, come half time, we were certainly not clean, and that's when I realised how good a player Alan Devonshire was, because we'd all white, and it was Alan's one of the best players I've ever played with, I think. But we were all in white and it was muddy, and I'm coming off at half time, and there's mud in my hair and mud in my face. And I'm looking at Alan Devonshire, and there's a couple of splashes up the back of his leg, you know, and he was probably our best player in the first half, and people trying to launch at him, and it was just, his balance was unbelievable. So he's it was wonderful. It was a great memory for me, even though we beat him 4-0. That just the sight of Alan Devonshire with not a mark on him was pretty good.
Yeah. Did you have a pre-match routine? What you did, you know, before every game? You know, the night before match day. Did you have anything that you did?
Family coach, can't do that. Can't tell you what I'd done the night before. No, I didn't. I honestly didn't. Any days you did get in it, you get us good sleep. You know, I had to take a sleeper because I'm not very good. I can't get myself to sleep very often. And so what I'd done is I used to take sleeping tablets. I used to give us sleeping tablets, and just the night before a game, and that was me out. And the following day, I wasn't one. I didn't like training. You know, I didn't like going out and doing the warm up. You know, but I would run more than anyone. I just thought, you know, I'm ready. You know, I'd done my stretches in the dressing room. A lot of boys used to go out to the pitch, and I didn't see the point of running out, especially when it was raining. You're out running about and getting soaking and not feeling good, and then coming in and then having to go out again. I thought, nah, it wasn't for me. I'd done my stretches, not in the dressing room. When I went to the pitch, I was always ready. You know, I don't know why I did that. It wasn't, it was just a routine. I just did. I didn't do it. I didn't like all that. Some managers like you to go out and do all this running about, but you know, as far as I was concerned, we trained all week to get ready for the Saturday, and I was ready for Saturday, and I was, you know, I didn't want to leave it in the pitch half hour before the game.
Yeah. Lots of people have asked, what's your favourite nightclub in London?
Now or then? Well, there was two nightclubs I used to go to all the time, and it was Stringfellas and Browns. That was my two clubs. I loved it. Sometimes I used to go to other clubs, but that was my two.
Yeah.
I used to go. It was good. I knew the owners, and so it was good to go and have a chat. And you know, and people say Stringfellas is not a nightclub. It was at the time, and you know, I got introduced to. I went into Stringfellas, and I got introduced to, you know, Jack Nicholson, Johnny Depp. You know, these people I'm getting introduced to. It was incredible. you know, these top stars of the world. So it was incredible. You know, this wee boy from Milton getting introduced to Jack and his harem of girls. That was more important to me, the harem of girls. Yeah.
Yeah. When you walked out onto the pitch and you heard the West Ham fans singing and cheering you on, did that feel like, you know, you had a 12th man on the pitch at times?
Of course, the West Ham fans, you know, they were superb. They were very well known. I remember I was suspended, and I can't remember what game it was, but they were doing a conga in the terracing, you know, and we were getting battered, and it was incredible, you know. The boys were all doing the conga up down the terracing. It was just surreal. Some of the older boys will remember it, and it was just surreal, but it was great, you know. And you're thinking, that's what football's all about, you know. Sometimes you don't always win, but I think they knew the boys were giving it all that year, and it was pretty awesome. Yeah, the fans were good. I've always had a great affinity with the fans. You know, they didn't know who I was. Nobody in London knew who I was, and they took to me. And, you know, and you know, as I said at the beginning of this, it was it doesn't cost nothing to put a shift in and put a proper shift in, and we can't all play like Lionel Messi every week, but we can certainly help our teammates, and that's all I did. Nobody could ever have a go at me for leaving something on the pitch. So, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, indeed. What was your favourite moment in a West Ham shirt for you?
I scored my 2 goals on my debut at Upton Park. That was special for me, because as I say, the fans didn't know who I was, and then, you know, and I got them. You know, it sort of set the tone for what was to come, if you like. And you know, it didn't get much better than this. My first game, I scored 2 goals. My last game, I scored 3. When I come on against Nottingham Forest at half time, it was nothing each, and I scored 3 goals. And that was my last ever game. So that was, for me, probably the most special moment, my special 45 minutes I've ever played. Yeah.
Brilliant. Just to mention quickly, Kieran's on pretty much every single show. He lives over in Australia. G'day, young Jake. 4:44 a.m. and you're with one of my heroes. Thank you very much, Kieran, for tuning in.
Cheers, buddy. What are you doing up at this time?
Well, yeah, for West Ham games, I think he's used to it. There's two Australians that watch my show, and I don't think both of them sleep. I don't think they sleep. They are brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Lots of people are asking as well, did you enjoy being perceived as a playboy in football?
Listen, it didn't bother me. It really didn't bother me. The one good thing I know, that was all of the tabloids and all that. None of my teammates complained about me, no matter what club I was at, because they knew the truth. They knew what I was like. They knew what I was like as a guy. They knew what I was like as I like to go out, but you know, I was always ready for the game. And you know, when your teammates are not having, you know, if I'd have done anything that wasn't, you know, I'd love to. Do you know what, Jake? You're still young, but I'd love to have done half the things I'm supposed to have done. You know, I thought, wow, did I do that? What a lot of nonsense. But it's good, because I do after dinners at the moment, and it's good. I tell these stories, and they'll love it. You know, so it's listen. It is what it is. You can't change a press. You know, I'm making some money off them now, but you can't change them. It's just, and when the press caught me doing anything, you know, put your hands up, because you know they're doing a job. So it didn't bother me, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't as bad as what things were making out to me. I wasn't. You know, I certainly didn't. If any of my teammates had complained about me, or any manager complained about me, then I certainly wouldn't have been going out as much. It just wasn't me. I mean, I'm probably the only player. I don't know anyone else that's signed for 3 clubs twice. So I started and finished my career at St Mirren. I signed twice for West Ham and twice for Celtic. So obviously my nightlife and all that didn't cause too much a problem with any manager or anything like that, because they wouldn't have brought me back if that was the case. So I'm happy with that, and you know, I'm happy. the fact that people tarnish me with this brush, but you know, my missus knows me. She knows that I am what I am, and you know, and she knows the best. There's two sides of me, so yeah, it's good.
Yeah, indeed. Who was the best teammate, in your opinion, to room with?
Who'd I room with? Only room with two. At West Ham, it was Wardy, who was brilliant. He's just a little scouser, full of mischief, and Dixie. Two nutcases in their own way. Yeah, the two of them. I remember we were playing golf. I was playing golf one night in the room with Julian Dix. It was great with somebody with a set of golf clubs. Not tell the whole story, but we were smashing the ball off the door and all that. You can imagine the manager didn't know what we were doing in the room, and it was Billy Bonds. And when I opened the door, the look of relief on his face, because he didn't know what was going on in this room. When he seen all his golf balls and all that, he was so relieved that he went, "Oh, I don't want to know," and just walked away. So it was pretty good. That was Dixie. Great teammate, great wonderful teammate. Wardy was just Wardy. We got up to so much mischief. It was good fun.
Yeah, yeah. And final question from me, and James has been putting it in the chat as well. So, James, I'm going to put it to Frank now. What was the best piece of advice you were given in your playing career?
John Lyell is the most simple bit of advice that I've ever had, and it'll go with me. Take it in life. There was a big mirror as you walk out the door at Upton Park, the bowling ground. It's a big full-length mirror, and John said to me, as you walk out the door, have a look at yourself in the mirror, and if you can look at yourself again after 90 minutes, I won't have to forget you, because you can't kid yourself. You're only kidding yourself. And if I walked in after the game, I knew if I didn't put it in, so I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And it was just so simple, Jake. Sometimes you just got to say, yeah, it's some of the team talks have been awful, some of them, but that was so simple. And I knew what it meant. I got it. You cannot kid yourself. And basically you can't kid the fans. And one of the advice, little Wardy got a bit of advice off Alvin Martin. It was pretty awesome. It was all about the chicken run. You won't know about it, but the chicken run at Upton Park was famous. And because Wardy was playing out there, I thought that's a wonderful bit of advice. Alvin said to Wardy, it's the chicken run can make you or break you. You can't kid them on, and that was great. I mean, you can't kid football supporters on. It doesn't matter whether it was West Ham or Celtic. You can't kid them on. They see everything you're doing, and if you don't give them everything, then you don't deserve to wear a jersey. So I've been very fortunate that hopefully I've deserved to wear every jersey that I've put on.
Yeah, definitely. So there's all my questions done. Frank, if it's okay with you, we're going to take some questions from people watching live. Is that all right?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, then. So Mike started off regular to the channel. Mike, I hope you're well. Who was the worst trainer and best drinker?
That's probably me. Yeah, I didn't like training, but as I said, I didn't get any complaints because I done more on a Saturday than anyone else, so I just didn't like it, and I was probably pretty good. Ian Bishop wasn't a bad drinker either.
No. Peter says, imagine what Frank and Tony would be worth a day. I mean, when you look at it and what you two did in that season, how much you two must have been worth the next season in today's
one. It's a strange one because we're looking at it. I think it would have been different for me than what it would be for Tony. I don't know if Tony could play up front on his own. He had to have somebody playing up with him. He's the best finisher I've ever seen. He was a great finisher. But to play, I think I could have played up front my own. I don't know if Tony could have. It's sometimes there's more to just scoring goals than playing up front. I don't like the fact that people have to play. I like to. I mean, Jake, you remember not so long ago, 5 years ago, Leicester played 4-4-2 and won the league. Yeah. Because defenders couldn't handle it because they're not used to playing two strikers. And I'm thinking, football's easy. There's a lot of coaches complicate the game, Jake, and football is very easy. You pass the game, pass to your teammates, and and you make runs and get it back, make room for them, so you've got a pass on, and it's just all these complications that they come in, and they come up with all these names now for things that just you don't need a name for, just called a pass, like overlapping fullback. That's what we done, we done it. So yeah, I don't know what would be worse, but it would be. I think me and Tony would only be worth a lot of money if we played together, So, and not many teams play with the two now, so may have been a dying breed, who knows?
Yeah. Just before we continue on, we've got record viewers watching now live, the most we've ever had. 63 people watching. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Tonight. Thank you very much. Mark asks question. Would Frank recommend any players playing in Glasgow for David Moyes?
Yeah, well, there's a boy. Yeah, there's a couple of boys. There's a boy that I would like to, if he could get to. He's actually at Aberdeen now. The boy Lewis Ferguson. He's playing with Aberdeen. A good player, and I think he would be an ideal replacement for Declan if he went. So I would like, and he's got a good pedigree, boy. Declan. I know his dad, who's Derek Ferguson, who played with Rangers, and his uncle's Barry Ferguson. Great players. So he's got a good pedigree, but someone like that would be only if Declan goes. You wouldn't get a game if Declan was there. But I think Moyes will be having a look at him because he's that kind of player, and he would still complement Soucek the way they do it, because that's just I see a lot of Declan in him. So other boys, I mean, I like McGregor at Celtic. I like Turnbull. Celtic's in an awful state at the moment, but there's some good players there, and David Turnbull's a good young player. McGregor, I wouldn't hesitate McGregor to walk into West Ham. He's a wonderful, talented player. So yeah, he would be ideal for David, but David don't know that. It's he got to go. He scored a great goal against West Ham last week. McGregor, took off. It was a great goal. So he would be. He would fit into the West Ham team, I think, quite well. If they don't get Lingard and that, it would be, see.
Luke says, I assume TC is downstairs waiting for Macca to serve his dinner on a plate.
Yeah, he never gave me nothing on a plate. Now, as I say, he's probably the best, striker, without doubt. That I played with, he was a magnificent player. So yeah, I've not got a problem, and it worked well because of that. Everyone has a laugh, but Tony was an out-and-out striker. I wasn't. You see Antonio now when he passing, he passes a lot now because he played midfield as well. So sometimes I want him to shoot. There's time and a place for him to shoot, and time and a place for him to passing. Sometimes he gets it wrong, but I've not got any problems with Antonio. It's just. I think he can do some more weights and build the arms up a wee bit more.
Gates asks, Macca, what are your thoughts on VAR?
Oh my God, yeah. Where do I start with that one? I hate it. I really do hate it. I think it's ruining the game. I think it's, when the fans get back in. I think everyone noticed it last year because there was no fans, and they were watching. And they seen this nonsense going on with the lines and this, and you're crossing it out. And listen, if you have to do that, then it's not offside. Just the game's supposed to be entertaining. It's supposed to be an entertaining sport. People seem to forget that. And these referees who are going to make money, and apart from the fact, get ex-players in to judge it. And let the referees They're telling the referees to change their mind. You should be doing that. You should say, go and have a look at that, but not for everything. You don't have to. The Euros there was some of the best refereeing I've seen for years. They let it go. They just let everything go, and there was VAR there, but they didn't do this nonsense that we do over here. 4 and 5 minutes to see if you can celebrate a goal again. I mean, I would hate it for me as a striker because you run through, score a goal, you run away, celebrate with the fans, and then you've got to wait another couple of minutes before it gets announced if it's a yes or no. And that's not football. So it's not for me. I don't like it. I think goal line technology, yes, love that. That's good, but no, not VAR. It's just too much a stickler. The game's entertaining, and they're taking it away.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. I think to be honest with you, I think most fans agree with that. Just on the topic of Tony Cottee as well. He's just put on Twitter that he's leaving Sky Sports on the Soccer Saturday show. So Tony, if you ever see this, thank you. You're fantastic on Soccer Saturday, and I hope whatever you do next is good for you. But
Tony, right, he'll get a job somewhere. He's been good at all that.
Yeah.
Well done. It's we're going in a different direction now with Sky and all that. So yeah, I'm not sure.
Mark says if Frank's barber was on the line, would he choose Dix or Ray Stewart to take a penalty?
Wow. I don't know. Probably Dixie. I would probably say Dixie. I would think Dixie had it. Oh, I don't know. It's a strange one. It's a strange one because none of the two of them really missed. You know, it was. I don't know. I have no answer. Sorry, Mark. I'll just pay my own bar bill. I'll leave that.
Randy says, thoughts on Chris Woodfrank. Do you think that Chris Wood could be an adequate striker for West Ham?
I don't know. I don't know the boy well enough. He's a big one. Does he move about? Has he got the mobility that we need? We don't need a target man. You know, we don't need another Andy Carroll. I don't think. Listen, I said at the beginning of the programme, I've got total confidence in David Moyes. I don't know about Chris Wood. Scored goals, yeah, but do we need a target man and stop the playing? Because we've had some wonderful passes of games. Some play was magnificent in the games. Do we want to stop that? Yeah, I don't know. Listen, I've got to go with Moisey if he wants. Whoever he brings in, I'll be totally happy with and get my weight behind him.
Yeah, definitely. James put £2 in super chat. Thank you very much, James. James, he says, who was the toughest defender you ever played against?
There was a few good ones. You know, Hansen and Lawrenson at Liverpool were really hard to play against. They weren't the toughest to play against, as in play against, but not that as in hard men. Mick McCarthy at Man City. I broke his nose in the first minute, and he was the toughest. Yeah, for the next 89 minutes, he battered me. So yeah, it was hard. It was good, but there's some great defender. You know, Terry Butcher was good. He was always good for. You know, he was always good for that. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Big Butch.
Definitely.
I like playing against tough defenders. It didn't bother me. So.
Yeah. James says, does Frank remember scoring the winner midweek for Scotland in a World Cup playoff in Australia? In Australia, then scoring the winner at Loftus Road a few days later. And
yeah, I do. I played for Scotland. I played for Scotland in Melbourne, and we flew back, and I arrived at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning at Heathrow, and I phoned John Lyell, and he says, "Well done, Frank. Scotland got to the World Cup," and I says, "Well done, Frank." He says, "Take a couple of days off." And I says, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Well, and I says, John, I want to play today." And he couldn't believe it. And he says, "Frank, you've been travelling all night." I says, "John, staying up at night's never been my problem." And he just laughed and he says, "Come and see me." And I went to see him at the hotel. And he says, "Hey, you look all right." I says, "Oh, I really want to play. I wouldn't tell you if I wouldn't just put myself in for the sake of it, because we were going for the league." And luckily he put me in, and we won 1-0, and I scored the goal. So I slept. I went out on Saturday night and I slept from Sunday till he gave me a couple of days off, so it was great. It was good fun. But to be honest, Jake, I was hopeless in the game against QPR, but and it was a plastic surface. It was horrible surface, and it was like run on concrete. But I'm not going to make it as an excuse. It was just I was terrible, but I scored the goal. So you know, as I say, that's all that counts.
That's all that matters. Duke says, Jake, Frank, this has been superb. Thank you both. Thank Frank, not me. It's been fantastic tonight. Luke says, John Lloyd must have got home. Must have got home many nights and just thought, I love these guys, but they don't make it easy.
yeah, it must have. You know, I think John knew. Early doors. I'll just tell a story before we close up there. This is the guys. We went to Holland, as I tell you about the big trophy and all that. Anyway, we went there and John let us out for a couple of hours, and we all sneaked out after we came back to the hotel. Seen John, bye, good night, and all that. And we all sneaked out. Cut really short, but we all sneaked out. The following morning, we're going to the airport, and John came on, and we're all sitting there, all weary and all that, and John's looking at me and Tony and Wardy, and he's looking, saying, people were out last night. He says, I'm not happy, you got a curfew, or this, you can't do this, and he says, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. He thought it was the two new boys, myself and Wardy. He said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. He says, I'm going to go and have a coffee, get myself a coffee. He said, by the time I come back onto this coach, whoever was out last night wants £50, put in the front seat of the coach, and we'll hear no more about it. The money will go to charity, and we'll hear no more about it. Now, I can tell you that John must have thought there's going to be £100 or something there when he came in. The look in John's face when he seen £1,200 sitting in the front seat, because every one of the boys had gone out, and I think he realised there and then that we had some good team spirit. He took the money, gave it to charity, and the rest of is history, Jay, because we went on to have a wonderful season. Just not good enough.
Yeah. Fresh Fielder, if the comment will come on the screen, says, Jake, you have a proper hero on for us all gets tonight. Who went through the 85-86 season knowing we wouldn't get European football afterwards. Thanks. Thank you very much, Fresh Fielder, for those kind words.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Randy says, which player would you like to see at West Ham realistically, Frank?
I'm not too bothered about players. It's I think David's got. I would like to see I don't know who's at the back. I mean, did Dawson signed? I don't even know. I've been away.
Dawson signed, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we need cover at the back. Need another one at the back because I think some of the boys will be going out. A fullback, good fullback. I don't know. Cresswell's been doing all right since he's had another one of the younger boys.
Back up there as well.
Yeah.
Back up, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's been pushing them, so it's been good for him because listen, competition is great in football. So I don't know where you would change that. I think the front line is the only position I would like to change. I'd love to get Lingard. I would love to get. I think there's some. Fornells has been great for me, and Lanzini's been great, and they've turned into players that David Moyes likes. He's turned them. He's got them all. Benrahma, when he came in, David left him out because he kept losing the ball at the wrong places, and all of a sudden, as Moyes was saying, he doesn't mind them doing these tricks and running at people in the right areas, but not when your teammates are all forward by you. You lose the ball, you're in trouble at the back. So all of a sudden, there's a time and place to do your tricks, and I think he's got it all sorted, and it's great to watch. But I think the most important, I'm waffling on, but I think the only position we need at the moment is to get another striker in. I think that's the most important. I think they're wanting another centre back, so I know that for a fact that they're going for a centre back. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll get a good one in and get a striker because Antonio is not going to be, he's not going to. He gets injured, so that's just part of his training and his process and he runs and so as I say, might get 6 games and lose 3. So you need another striker to come in, not a young boy, not a midfield player to go up and do it. but a proper striker, because it's important.
Agreed. Kent Hammer says West Ham fans only ever asked for 100% on the pitch. Macca gave that, and so did most of the players of that generation.
Thanks, Kent. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, we enjoyed that. Yeah, thanks.
Randy says, which West Ham player will impress this season for you?
Will impress. I think. You know, I mean, Fornell was impressed me that season, because I thought he was going to be the one that dropped out for Lingard. And he stepped up to the Martin, and it was Bowen that get dropped out. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping they all step up to the Martin, get with the fans back in, because it's, you know, I've got to admit, I'm not a great fan of the stadium, but it would have been bouncing with some of the play that they've done this year. So I wish they would turn it into a football stadium. I really do. So
I think we all wish that.
Yeah, it's like a tell when you walk in the door, but listen, it is what it is. The pitch is the same. The boys will get on with it when they go on the pitch.
Yeah, agreed. Freshfielder says, well, what was the atmosphere like in the change room during the 85-86 run? And so many games in such a short period really kiboshed our chances, I reckon. What was the atmosphere like?
It was great, because we never played for a long time because of the weather. The weather was horrible, and then we had to play Saturday, Monday, Wednesdays. So I mean, it was incredible. That was about 5 or 6 weeks. We never really. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. We went for everything that year. We went for the cups. We went for the league. We had three replays against Ipswich before we beat them. Then we had 2 against Man United, and you know, that's a lot of games. You know, and maybe we should have. We didn't have a big squad, so maybe we should have let some of the kids in to play some of the games and give us a rest. But the way I thought about it, we'd all that time off with the weather. That was like a holiday to me, so I didn't want to miss. Nobody wanted to miss any games, and that was the biggest respect I gave the players, because they just wanted to play. We were all footballers. We just wanted to play every game. Yeah. And it was great. My biggest regret, somebody asked me about that earlier, my biggest regret was not winning the league. You know, we can look back at certain games that we could have won it, and that was my biggest regret. But the dressing room, as I say, when John Lyle came in and told us that Ken Dalglish had scored at Stamford Bridge, I've never seen so many grown men cry. And it was, you know, it was horrible. It was great to see, you know, that basically it was done. I didn't want to play on the Monday against Everton. But I can rest assured, if we had to go to Everton to win the league on the Monday, we would have beat them. There was no two ways about that. So I'd like to have got second instead of third, but it didn't mean anything to me at the time. And, you know, that was probably a regret, because we should have went and beat Everton and finished second. But wasn't to be. I was going to the World Cup, and I just wanted to finish, sort of my season finished on the Saturday rather than the Monday. So yeah, big apology for that.
But Freshfielder says, "Is it true John Lyle went ballistic about Alvin Martin taking that penalty in the 8-1 versus Newcastle?"
Yes, it was in the history books as well. I mean, Alvin scored. I don't know if you know this. Alvin scored 3 penalties against 3 different keepers in one game. You know, It was incredible, and yeah, he did. John Lyle went ballistic. He went mad, because John was such a good manager. He was such a disciplinarian, but he was, we all thought it was funny, but John didn't. That's why he formed a team that played like that. You know, it was a shame for Alvin, but yeah, behind his back we all had to laugh. So yeah, it was. But we knew he'd get annoyed. That's how good a manager he was. We knew he would get annoyed at that, but we didn't care. Go on, Alvin.
Mike says, "What a top man, Mac, a true West Ham legend." Yeah, indeed.
Thanks, Mike.
Indeed. Mark says, thanks, Frank and Jake, for your time this evening. So sorry for asking for you to choose between Julian and Ray, but class answer.
Yeah.
Fresh Phillips says, Jake, can you thank Frank for engaging with all the fan channels? It means so much to all of us that him and the likes of David Cross do. So yeah, Frank, honestly, thank you very much, because I know you go on all of the channels when you're asked, and there's a certain bunch that we know that do it, and we really appreciate you coming on.
Listen, Jake, thanks very much, pal. Glad I could catch up with you guys, and you're doing well. Keep it up, buddy, and hopefully I'll come on again sometime soon.
Yeah, brilliant. Just a couple more questions that have come in.
Two more, because I need to go now. So I've been on.
Oh, sorry. What was Frank's favourite football chant? There's your final question.
I don't know. It was the McAvennie. That was the big one in West Ham. It was the E at the end, and there was one at Celtic. It was the Okie Kokie. That song. They done it by my name. They do the McAvennie, and you turn around. It was weird, see fans doing it, especially since doing all that. They were doing Okie Kokie in the Congo and all that with West Ham. That was, some of the fans are just nuts. But it's great to watch. Yeah, just usual. I loved it when fans were singing, McAvennie, you're a whatever you are, because it meant you're doing well. So I love winding up other other supporters. So that was good.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you very much again, Frank, for coming on. I didn't mean to keep you for so long, but the questions...
buddy. I know we lose time, but it's not a problem, honestly. It's not a problem. I'll go and feed my dog now.
Yeah, brilliant. Guys watching, thank you very much for you all for watching throughout all of it, the whole show. Obviously, thank you very much to Frank again, and we'll see you next time. From me and Frank, come on, you irons. Thanks for watching. There you go. Come on, you irons. I will see you next time. Cheers, Macca. Cheers, lads. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jake. Take care.